Welcome to Java. Thank you for joining me. It is January 17th, 2025, and it is Friday and the last trading day prior to the inauguration of the incoming administration next Monday. Now, markets are closed on Monday due to a holiday. So this is going to be a large day as far as your trading is going to be very volatile. The volume should be quite interesting, particularly during opening and the last hour and a half or so of trading. So with this, keep this in mind while you've got your setups that you're going to go through the weekend, and the next time that we will be trading will be after multiple executive orders are signed. So as we're watching this, quite a bit of chaos expected in not just today, but the next few days of trading, which will pull us into next week. So with this, hope you're having a wonderful Friday and going to wish you a wonderful weekend. So keep light on your trades, don't ruin your weekend. Going into our favorite risk indicator, the MMRI, still in extreme territory. Okay, even with yesterday happening was another volatile drop and bounce day. We've got the MMRI sitting above 311 and in the extreme order where this is high risk, even though it has pulled back a slight bit. Now I've got the fear greed meter also has ticked back one more notch back towards the fear. So with this kind of balancing out, what we're really watching is the United States 10-year yield, which at this moment is dropping. Now, as this drops and pulls back, should give a little breathing room and a little running room to stocks. We've got the relative strength of the dollar back down almost right at 109, so it's also pulling back slightly. Really, we're watching the 10-year yield. Now, cryptocurrencies, really big story here. We've got Bitcoin above 102,000 again. Now, Ethereum also rising, but XRP is at $3 and above $3.32 right now. A lot of people looking to get into this. It's in a pump phase. I expect it to pull back a little bit, but also eventually that it's got a little more room to go. Now I've got Solana again back above 200, and I'll talk about this in a little bit because there are policies that are going to move forward. Now, with this, we've got the calendar. Housing starts, which I'll also talk about in a little bit as well, with building permits, industrial production and capacity. So I don't expect those to be large movers, but they do all happen prior to the market open. Now, next week, going into next week, remember Monday is closed and we're not expecting much on Tuesday. So with all of this, we've got the current markets looking quite a bit weak. However, that could swap. We've got oil hanging right around the $79 mark, but we've got the futures in the green. So as this 10-year pulls back, as I said, the futures could go green at least for a bit. Toward the end of the day, all bets are off. Now, right now, gold's still holding above the $2,700 mark and silver above $31. So a little bit of fear trade going on here. So we're going to keep an eye on this. Now, what's going on with cryptocurrencies? First off, the new administration coming in is planning an executive order day one, making this a national priority. So that's going to give it a huge boost. There are also some other things going on in the background as far as XRP, Ripple, getting a little bit of a push. Also, the silent one they're not speaking about is Link, Chainlink. These are all in relation to the CBDC, central bank digital currency, that they're all insisting they're not working towards. Now, a little bit more on this. As I was saying, XRP, the volume has now overtaken Bitcoin on Coinbase as the United States investor interest. Now, if you take a look at these by the market pair, the volume, XRP at 25.16% right now, well above Bitcoin at 19.74. To me, this is a bit of a flag and also a little bit overbought for the short term. Now, as I said, I do expect it's got a bit more room to run, but just watching these levels at $3.30 right now, and also on the charts, it's hitting a little bit of resistance. May want to wait and see a little bit what goes on, or if you're buying for the long term, then you can get in. Still similar with Bitcoin at 102, it's at a resistance level at the moment. We'll wait and see where it goes from here. Monday could make it all blast off. We don't know. So, could also make it plummet. Not financial advice, just observations. Now, back to home sales, because this is what we're going to get this morning. Pending home sales decline due to what they're saying high housing costs, which I believe is true. People can't afford it anymore. California wildfires and frigid weather in other parts of the United States. They're saying this is keeping people indoors. I think another large part of it is the rates have gone back up, as well as affordability and savings for people have gone down. We are getting on the other side of this more declines in the loan factor. So more people getting turned down for the mortgages. So that's got a large part to do with it as well that they're not talking about. And I think that is a flag to the other side that really needs to be watched. If people are not getting approved for their loans, that's destructive on a couple of levels. Now, we've got more administration stuff coming out. You're going to get bombarded with this prior to Monday, but I want you to know the critical things prior to the trading day starting opening today. Now, we've got Trump's energy czar saying the United States will, quote unquote, lose the artificial intelligence arms race without fossil fuels. Now, this is a small story they shoved down in the corner, but it's critically important on a couple of levels. The first is this. The artificial intelligence, I had said this before, they are in an arms race. And this is with other countries around the world. They're not telling you how they're doing with their advancements. The United States has dropped all safety and security protocols to do with building artificial intelligence because they fear now that, in particular, China is going to gain the upper edge with this. Now, that's the first. The second part of that is that it is definitely a war that is coming forward because the artificial intelligence will be controlling all of the military equipment moving forward. So, much larger story than what they're saying. Finally, said that quiet part out loud. Second quiet part out loud is they can't do this without fossil fuels. So with all of this green talk, all of the windmills, the electrical is a load of garbage. Now, I'm not saying that those aren't going to be important going forward and that they aren't now, but the percentage of the supply and what is actually practical at this moment in time, you can't do this at all without fossil fuels, oil being the main one. So watching energy forward. Okay, so with this, and that doesn't mean that energy can't fall, but I think there is major energy play moving forward, as well as the data centers. And I've been talking about this for a while, not just for the data, but for processing all of these, not just artificial intelligence, but also the cryptocurrencies, which we are about to be forced into. So a little bit more on the economic front. My apologies, that was quite a bit to throw out there at the moment. We've got Trump's Treasury pick, Besant, warning against unwinding tax cuts that this could spark economic calamity. Now, behind this is because of this spending. This tax exemption is about to expire. The argument is that it is benefiting the upper class and the wealthier for these tax uh, benefits. However, I do agree with him when he says, and the quote is not here, that the United States does not have a taxation problem. They've got a spending problem. And I couldn't agree with him more. Now, with all of this, as this says, was heated confirmation and saying that he backs tougher sanctions on Russian oil. Well, there are a couple of areas that have the bulk of the supply for Russian oil. Russian oil mostly bolsters the EU. So tougher sanctions and cutting back on that will raise prices for the European Union in particular, and also with their manufacturing. It's going to hurt their economy much more than the United States. So a couple of other things. We've got the White House holding a Homeland Security tabletop exercise with senior officials. Now, this is prior to the inauguration. I think there could be a lot of things that happen. There is much speculation. There is ramped up security. They're being very quiet about a lot of things going on. But Monday is going to be a rather large day. Hopefully, it will just go off quietly and move forward from there. Now, a couple of other things moving forward that I would like to bring up because I think it's very important moving forward. We are marching forward into not just the digital currencies, but the digital IDs. And we've got two things with this. Now, the current administration, as he's walking out the door, is throwing out all kinds of executive orders and, if you will, monkey business into multiple sectors. Now, he's got a cybersecurity order he just put out that could help banks deter fraud, so to speak. This order calls on federal agencies to support more forms of digital identity documents and could lead more states to adopt digital driver's licenses. So, all of your privacy, this is throwing a spanner in the works to all of the all of your security. They've gone to the real, what they're calling the real ID. So that is being forced for any travel. If you want any freedom of movement, you have to have these things. So he's throwing this into this digital identity, and let's move forward with this. We've got this other story, seems to be not related. This is from engineering side. A difficult trade-off. Privacy may have to take a back seat to prevent this word I don't want to say because I want this video to get out, but biosensors, and they're talking about implanted as well as external biosensors, could be the key to ensuring effective surveillance mechanisms. And then what are the privacy violations and concerns? So you will not be allowed certain areas, and for your freedom of movement definitely under threat. We already know the freedom of speech is highly under threat. So just urging this to kind of watch this going forward. And with all of this, we've got a lot of good things that are coming forward. Watching Monday, we've got a great big weekend coming up. So I'm wishing you all a wonderful weekend. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.